Okay, guys, so it seems like we're going to be able to get into it pretty damn fast. So,
First map Bloody Ridge. This is
what?
good for draw, because this map is straight up Protoss favor in this matchup.
Hmm. I have to say that kind of at this level, when we're talking about kind of some of the best players, right, the foreign players, I don't look into maps that much because I think they find ways to overcome these kind of like the not imbalances, I would say, just the differences between the maps.
I mean, it is slightly imbalanced. Like that's why Protoss win slightly more on this map. Like,
Yeah,
for example, if you look at I'm trying to think of Electric Circuit.
yeah.
Zergs win on that map more than Protoss do. But if you look at this map, Protoss win more. That's why you can't really say that the matchup is Zerg favored, like a lot of people do, because it depends on the map. Really, it does. Like, on some maps, it is slightly Zerg favored, and on others, it is slightly Protoss favored. So that's just how it is. But like you said, of course, there could be something we don't know that these players do know. That's always a possibility. But barring that, traditionally this is a Protoss favored map, slightly, like 6-4.
I was the reason why I was thinking about that is because one of the things that I find kind of interesting is that many times when a map is sort of like, I don't know, something like, for example, Taucross, where it's a bit difficult to get your hatchery first because you can get like the spylon block, between your natural and your main.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it was basically Zerg say, okay, you know what, I'm gonna 9 pull or even 6 pull. It's kind of like a way to say I'm going to ignore
Yeah.
the
That
problems
annoying
of the base, of the map, by using something that is basically doesn't get into trouble with that. It's kind of like you could say mutas, for example. Well, mutas are going to be better on maps where the minerals for the natural probably are next to a wall, but that doesn't mean that you can't use them on other maps. So if you want
Yeah.
to limit the way that the layout of the map is, you could say I'm just going to go mutas. Still interested to see, because the funny thing is that we do see that pretty much nowadays almost every single Protoss is going for the expansion, right?
Yeah, Forge.
It's almost
Style.
never a one base kind of build, which there were actually quite a lot of builds that were efficient at kind of like, what, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago. Like Dragoon Reaver was even very powerful at the time when people didn't know how it worked and how to stop it.
It's yeah, it's hard to not do Forge Expand because you need a whole other set of responses and timings. And with Forge Expand, you know what you're getting, you know it's solid, and you know what to do out of the extra stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit more even automatic. You can kind of think about other things while you're just basically doing what you know you have to do.
You can just play against your opponent's mind instead of dealing with the fundamental parts of the game, basically. Only one cannon for draw, so that's good. Let's see if he takes a gas now or gets a second gateway.
Considering how he is positioning and stuff, I would say it's probably gas. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Good gas. Nice. Now, this map being Protoss favored, I feel like I have to explain myself because,
Go ahead.
I mean, first of all, the statistics don't lie. Look them up on Wikipedia, like whatever. Uh, look up the stats for the post-Kespa era, or even the Kespa era, whatever you want. And it makes sense because, like, the Zerg's expansions are rather exposed on this map. You know, you got the ramp down here, like sure, but the top left base is not that easy to defend. Whereas the Protoss can easily defend. I mean, you got the ramp, just put 2 Zealots there, put a Templar behind it and some cannons, and it's basically safe. And even the bottom right base is easier for the Protoss to defend than the Zerg, which is rare. Usually, bases are easier for Zerg to defend than for the Protoss. But here, you can easily just like wall off with pylons and put some Reavers there, and the Ultra-Risks can't destroy the base.
I was thinking about the 12 o'clock and the 6 o'clock, and how do
Yep.
they work? Because the bad thing, I think, for Zergs, for these two bases, first of all, they're like extremely easy to storm drop because there's a very
Yes.
small distance between
Yeah.
the ledge and the base itself, which
Yeah.
already is a huge problem because it means that even if you do have the base, that doesn't mean that you're going to be able to mine
Exactly,
from
yeah.
it.
It's very easy to storm drop on this map.
So that would be one thing. Although on the other side,
very nice micro, by the way, by Trutacz.
yeah, it's trying to make sure that Zealot can scout what's actually in the main.
Got a great surround here.
It will actually, it does work. It doesn't see the lair. So.
Nice.
But on the other hand, the thing I don't understand is if you do have on the 12 or 6 o'clock, you have only one ramp to defend, right?
Yep.
That means that if a Protoss wants to go up that ramp and you have lurkers and, for example, swarm, it's gonna be a nightmare.
They definitely cannot. But these days, Protosses don't win by breaking the front on expansions anyway. So that's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
So instead, what you can do is like, since the map is so small, like if you get a good mid-game army and you, oh my god, we have a run because of the
fudge.
Yeah. So he's gonna have to deal with a bunch of links in his base now.
Oh.
4 links.
And and he got lucky. I mean, it could have been much
That was a
worse.
mess up by Draw.
Yeah.
Draw actually had the units to wall it off, but he didn't in that split second. He didn't.
But it could have gone even a
pros,
lot worse. Like, it actually showed for a second that probably 6 could have gotten into the main. But for a second there, he decided to try to kill the cannon, and because of that, yeah, it's, oof.
Yeah, it could have been even worse. It was a decent save by Draw, like making, you know, averting disaster. Could have been even worse.
Yeah.
He's gonna try to get an Overlord now since the Spire isn't completed. Anyways, what I was saying is that oftentimes Protosses will have a superior mid-game army, but they won't be able to kill a circle because of fortifications. So what you can do is you can place it like between the 3rd and 4th base and just like stand there and siege. And that gives you a great position to storm drop because Zerg won't have vision there. Oh, more links coming in, by the way. But I think it's okay. Actually, it's not okay. It's 3 more links.
It's far from okay.
It's not okay
it's
at all.
It's 1,000 miles from okay, man.
It's more probes dying. Jesus Christ! By the gods.
But yeah, for a second there, I also thought, well, with just 3 links, yeah, but I mean, if you control them very well, then they are a pain in the butt.
No. All right. And we don't have like a crazy Mutalisk follow-up. We just have more drones, you know, an economic follow-up. Look at the control and the Psy here. We got 39 for Protoss and 37 for Zerg, and that's really terrible for Protoss.
Oh my god.
It's not what you want at all. You want to be ahead.
Yeah.
In fact, we have more drones than we have Protoss.
And we have...
Wow. Raw restores his PC.
Oh. Okay.
So game 1 goes to Trutacz.
That was interesting. I mean, because I don't know if you noticed, but the moment that actually Draw left was when he saw Scourges, which is an interesting.
Well, I don't think that's what I mean.
I mean, no, it's definitely not that, but it's for a second there I was just kind of like wondering. Oh, so basically. Well, I don't know.
I think he just thought like I'm behind. This is dumb. Like I lost the stupid stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want to finish this game. I'm better restart my computer.
Which can be actually good if you want to kind of clear your head.
You don't want to spend your mental energy. Yeah. You don't want to get brutalized for half an hour like Zaraki was in the first game.
Although I have to say that after, I don't know if you caught that up, but there was a game between who was it? Gem and I think Trutacz, where they played like for an hour and it was a draw. And that is kind of like one of these games where you're really wondering, God, how do you feel after that kind of game? You have to be exhausted.
You know, I think one of the reasons that, well, I don't know if he did it, but one thing you can do, which is really good, is if you know you're gonna win, don't kill your opponent right away. Let him suffer. Let him spend his energy. You know.
I have to
and maybe
say,
that's what Draw was doing.
Maybe, but I have to say that, you know, when people say that kind of stuff, I've heard it before, but every time I hear that, I feel like there's a demon happy somewhere because you said that, you know?
I mean, it might not be the most nice thing to do, but here's the thing. He can leave the game at any time. Like, you know you're behind.
Okay,
where are you playing?
yes,
like,
okay.
It's his fault.
I see where you're going with that, and yes, you are correct, man. You are definitely correct.